Welcome to Missed Opportunities for Good, the podcast where we open up the space to have conversations about trends and campaigns at the intersection of marketing, advertising, and impact.
Hi, I'm Alana Ficalora.
Hey, I'm Steph Belsky.
We're social impact strategists, colleagues, and friends who are on a mission to revolutionize the industry we love.
Today, there's a lot of virtue signaling, greenwashing, cause washing, or companies saying nothing out of fear of getting it wrong.
Whether it's a moment or a movement, it still has to be real. It has to be authentic and aligned with the brand, not just performative. It's about the action being taken that goes along with the messaging.
We're here to highlight who's doing it well, what could be better, and how companies can stop leaving money and the potential for real social change on the table.
We're back.
Yay!
Steph's back. Steph's back from maternity leave, and it has us thinking a lot about boobs, what the female body is capable of, and the added responsibilities that tend to fall on women. So it's going to be a riveting conversation today.
And happy belated Mother's Day, y'all. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Thanks, Alana, for always keeping us on top of our episodes and keeping us afloat. But we're back. We're back.
We're
and I
here.
can't think of a more perfect episode to come back to than May 2024, baby. Also, it's been a year, Alana. We've been doing this for a year.
Congratulations to us. Pat on the back.
Pat on the back. Pat on the back. Because you know what?
Virtual
nobody
high fives.
Nobody else is going to congratulate us, so we might as well congratulate ourselves.
We'll have our own baby shower for ourselves, or 1-year-old birthday party. It'll be great. We'll get a smash cake. It'll be awesome.
I love it.
And on that note, why is it, whether these brands are owned by females or targeting females, that they're the ones that are responsible for addressing these social issues? They're always giving back, from Always with the Like a Girl campaign to Dove and their Real Beauty campaigns, Spanx, Thinks, Frida, Tory Burch, Rebecca Minkoff, Michael Stars, Rare Beauty, Fenty, Black Girl Sunscreen. I mean, the list goes on and on.
It goes on.
But why does it seem like these female-focused brands tend to be more likely to give back than your traditional Fortune 500
Do I have to
company
point out the
or
obvious?
anyone else, CPG, anyone else? Yeah.
All right. I'm going to point out the obvious. We're smarter. And we give a crap. And listen, it's upsetting and also not surprising, which is also upsetting. But I just feel like that is the woman mentality of like taking care of business, taking care of the world.
Called Mother Earth.
Bingo. So, okay, we're taking a break from our usual criteria evaluation format and really diving deep into some of the latest hits and misses from different female-focused or female-owned brands. We're looking at everyone from e.l.f. Oh, e.l.f. Can't wait to get into this. L'Oreal, Swehl, to Mayana, which is a new brand that we just learned about thanks to
Same with Swehl.
Same with Swehl. Rent the Runway, and also Natural Cycles.
They're using their platforms to have open discussions about issues that previously were either not commonly acknowledged in our culture and certainly not recognized in traditional advertising. They've all got something to say, and we are here for it. To the point that they're even being banned sometimes when having these conversations.
Which is actually a great place to start. So I'm going to kick us off with a campaign that just happened this past week. Didn't even make it to Mother's Day, which was the initial intent. But what we're talking about is the company Swehl and Molly Baz, who is a cookbook author, and her Big Titty Cookies.
You just can't wait to get to that part, let's be honest.
I really can't. I really cannot, because I have been living off of lactation muffins. Thanks, dashofevans.com. But seriously, like, you know, one thing I've learned about being a mom is that you don't get it until you're there.
Yep.
And so for all the mothers in my life, I'm so sorry if I didn't support you the way you deserve to be supported. But all this to say is that this ad hit me differently this year because of what I am physically experiencing in my body at this moment. So obviously, Times Square is known for having huge, flashy billboards, and especially like the Calvin Klein underwear models, right? Like that is just known that that's the place to be. So very smartly, Swehl decided that they were going to make a big splash. I believe the company's been around since, oh gosh,
like a
since
year.
last year,
It's
right?
really new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only a year old. And so good for them. They decided, they got the resources together, and big billboard in Times Square. So what was this billboard image, Alana? It was Molly Baz, who is recently pregnant, kind of showing off her pregnant body, beautiful pregnant body, for the first time publicly on a 45-foot billboard, which, shout out Molly Baz for like even remotely being open to doing this. And so it showed her mostly naked and then holding up her big titty lactation cookies in front of her big titties. This was deemed inappropriate and taken down.
Didn't even make it a week.
Your thoughts?
Didn't even make it a week.
Didn't even make it to Mother's Day.
Yeah, it was literally only supposed to be there a week, and it was like 1 second at a time, and it still got pulled. But the interesting thing about this, right, is that advertising has consistently taken away these images of women's health, common problems that every woman experiences, from the fact that until literally 2017, that's only 7 years ago, period products were not allowed to use red liquid. I remember growing up with these commercials with like this weird color.
Right, it's blue,
like,
of course.
Like, pour it. Why was it always blue?
It's so always blue.
But like, you know, that was only 7 years ago that we could use red for that. And then you see this like onslaught of all these other different sorts of commercials now that are like trying to explain that experience in a bigger way. And then Frida, a few years ago, when they had their campaign pulled from the Oscars, again, another postpartum ban, really trying to show these real impacts and what mothers experience. Hi, there's a reason why we don't know what this is like until we experience it ourselves, because we don't get to see it.
Yeah.
And so it's a consistent thing. And so the fact that yet again, 2024, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, we just can't get there, is crazy. But the amazing thing about it too is, despite the fact that it got pulled, they've gotten so much publicity around the fact that it was pulled. They got all this free press because of that, because I had never heard of the brand. And I think they're local to LA. So not that like they're walking down the street selling, you know, postpartum breastfeeding products, but the fact that, you know, this wasn't around when I had my daughter, but it's around now. You have a new baby and you didn't know. Now you know it exists. So
and
like,
actually,
how great is that?
And according to the press release, the cookie campaign, I guess Swehl announced on social media that they actually brought in 40,000 new users.
That is not nothing.
No, it's not nothing. And
they saw a 500% increase in traffic to their site. I mean, it's working.
Right. And I have to say, like, good for them. Obviously, this was very well planned and even more brilliantly executed, because A, they knew that this was going to be controversial no matter what, and they went for it. And B, they knew that if it was going to be taken down, that they would still be the fucking heroes of the day. So, like, well done to the co-founders, Betsy Riley and Elizabeth Meyer. Like, spot on, ladies. Just really, really good stuff. And
so check out Swehl, Swehl, not to be confused with the Swehl water bottle sitting on my desk. And, you know, speaking of stigmas and brands openly tackling breastfeeding, in public, no less.
Oh wait, hold on. One more.
No,
sorry, one more stat that I think we need to point out is the fact, because you had pointed this out, and I just thought that this was wild. So, breastfeeding in public was not legal in all 50 states until 2018. So, like, going back to the whole idea of, you know, 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, like in 2024.
Yeah, only 6 years ago.
Right. And
7 years ago, we got red for periods. And now 6 years ago, we were allowed to breastfeed in public everywhere.
Unbelievable.
What? And still get shamed, even though it's legal. Speaking of breastfeeding in public, The
Yes.
Canadian brand, Mayana, which is a BIPOC-owned women's intimate brand,
Woo-woo.
they took a strong action to normalize breastfeeding in public by having a flash mob, not a dancing flash mob, because that would be difficult while breastfeeding, but a 42-person seated flash mob at a well, I guess they weren't technically seated the whole time, but Blue Jays versus Dodgers game in Canada. And the 42 number is key because that represents 42% of Canadian moms that have experienced criticism, shaming, and prejudice for nursing in public. That's like almost half.
That's insane.
Nuts. And so these moms rocked some, bust the stigma jerseys. They all had matching outfits. The kids had matching outfits. They carried signs. Check it out. We'll have the link in the show notes. I think this is a very well executed stunt. It's kind of awesome.
The one sign of "take them out at the ball game."
Yeah, so good.
Was just like, give it to me.
I mean, this must have been such a fun campaign to work on. This is our dream, to be handed this brief and get to just go crazy. Like, how fun is this?
I also really love that Mayana also released 42 limited edition bras, with a portion of the proceeds going towards the New Mom Project, a Toronto-based charity that supports marginalized parents with essential infant supplies. That's doing it right.
I don't know that we needed 42 limited editions, but yes.
No, the 42 represents.
I know it 42%.
Represents
the sustainability piece. I'm like, do they need to be 42?
Okay, all right, fine.
I know.
Fair enough.
But awesome, no less. I mean, I guess if you're buying, right? So it doesn't really matter. And their whole mission and why they exist and how they started as well is very cool, because she, from the beginning and starting this company, didn't see the products that she wanted to have in her postpartum journey, and created these to make women feel beautiful, and actually supported and continued to be able to wear them after you're breastfeeding. So that's all super awesome. In addition to the portion of the proceeds from those bras being donated, they also have action that you can take on their website. They have a site that gives you additional information on the right to breastfeed in public, and advocacy tools and educational tools. You can sign a petition. Obviously, we'll link in the show notes so that you can support breastfeeding and chest feeding parents. So how awesome is that?
Love it.
And so they're really, the mission of this company from the beginning as well was always to destigmatize the shame around women's health and well-being. So they have it in their ethos from the beginning. They're walking the walk, they're talking the talk, and Anomaly helped them create this amazing campaign.
Yep. Shout out to Anomaly Canada. And look, these are both PR stunts, obviously, but either way, we're keeping the conversation going. We are getting it out there and really talking about women's issues in a way that is taking the taboo out of it and just going for it, which is really exciting to see.
Yes. And I love this quote from Candice Borland, the CEO of Anomaly Toronto, and she said, "We not only want to see ourselves represented in the work that we do, we also take pride in being agents of change, both of which are incredibly present with the Bust the Stigma campaign." Can we imagine a world where we were all using our work to be agents of change and seeing ourselves represented? Like, how amazing would that be?
Yeah.
These are our goals.
This is why Missed Opportunities for Good exists. I love it. Well, let's see. What else has been going on? Oh, well, while we're talking about postpartum, did you happen to see this campaign? Nothing really groundbreaking here, but interesting. Like, when Alana and I were talking about it, we're like, well, A for effort that they tried. And there's an interesting celebrity component to it.
So they're really trying.
Yeah, right. So what this campaign is it's Natural Cycles, which is a fertility tracking app. And they are supporting Postpartum Support International, which is a nonprofit. And the whole idea is that they're marking Mental Health Awareness Month. This fertility tracking app, Natural Cycles, has partnered with the nonprofit Postpartum Support International to ask a simple, overlooked question: is mommy okay?
Can we guess, team, what the answer to that is? Well, it turns out mommy's not so okay.
Mommy's not okay. So there were 5 celebrity moms: Halle Bailey, Tess Holliday, Elaine Welteroth, and Stephanie Beatrice, and Ashley Tisdale. They were talking about how new mothers are often dealing with an endless list of mental health issues. So again, good for them for putting it out there, talking about mental health and how important it is. But Alana, tell us more about this creative and why I kind of missed the boat.
Well, it's a Stepford Wives approach. I'm not gonna lie, I had to watch it a couple times to get it. It didn't hit home for me in the delivery. But they're addressing an important conversation, and I think that's really important to note because it's based on the insight that at least 1 in 5 women experience depression or anxiety during their perinatal period. And I think that there is often an assumption of what that shows up as, and we kind of only talk about postpartum depression, I think, in the most extreme sense. And so I think this 1 in 5 also points to the fact that it can show up in so many ways. And I think even too, when women aren't necessarily experience like the full on piece of it, there are things that are just like not awesome. And for so long, we weren't allowed to talk about them, which I think, brings it back to that call out of this 1950s vibe where everyone was just like, everything's fine. We're happy. And now I think we live in a world where, especially post-COVID, mental health is being talked about more. And we're having a lot of these conversations in a different way. And so I think being able to publicly have these conversations is really important. So they are at least getting that conversation out there. All that to say, I didn't even know that natural cycles was a thing. And as we dug into the app, that was an interesting.
Right.
It's interesting in and of itself.
And listen, speaking of mommy not being okay, you need to know I'm actually recording this in Leo's nursery. And he had just taken a giant poop right before we started recording. So the diaper
mommy is not okay.
Mommy's not okay. But
Mommy's inhaling fumes.
We're getting through it. We're getting through it. But bringing it back, I've been very blessed not to have postpartum depression. But there was a period where I was very much convinced that because of my mental health background that maybe I was going to have postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. And having that taking out the stigma of all mental health is so critical, but especially maternal mental health, because if you're not taking care of mommy can't take care of you. So yeah.
And related, unrelated, if you are a mom and are looking for mental health support resources, check out Mivita Health. It is a new company that came out to solve this problem of supporting women and mental health after they have children. Well, in all parts of the pregnancy, but especially postpartum. They're new and amazing and incredible, and you should totally look them up. There's lots of different community groups and you can talk to. I think it's telehealth, so you can talk to people online from anywhere, and it's amazing.
Also, quickly plug another app that I found to be extremely useful, MavenClinic.com. Maven is actually support for all pregnant people, and or whether you're trying to conceive or if you are pregnant, and then postpartum as well. And it's actually a free service that's through most insurance companies. And that was a game changer for me, just to be able to have another resource that was easily accessible, to be able to answer any questions and provided me with great support. So shout out to all of these companies that are helping moms make the transition easier.
So amazing. We will include those links in our show notes as well. Get ready. There's going to be lots of resources in there. And not a spot, but ironically coming out same week. Spot on is definitely key. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. Is SNL's skit for Mother's Day, which is pretty hilarious.
Oh my God.
And gets into this, I don't know, maybe it's a millennial mom thing, maybe it's a every mom thing, but this idea that you like feel like you're a hot mess and you're like, how did my mom do it? And the mom's like, oh, sweetie, you were just an angel. And then you see that in reality, that was not the case. But the memory changes how we think about things. And, hindsight's 2020, but hindsight's also a little more rosy than maybe it was at the time. So this is why they say remember those moments, because all we remember is the shiny ones. So anyhow, and then there was a New York Times article as well about millennial moms and is it truly harder for us or not as a millennial mom very much resonated
Two
with
millennial
me.
moms now.
Yes,
And
exactly.
Yes, indeed.
So the interesting thing about this New York Times millennial article was that part of what it was addressing was this idea that as millennials, the reason why maybe it's harder for us is we grew up in this age where we were told as women we could be anything and do anything and take over the world. Not really, but like we could work and have a career and do all these things. So a lot of millennial moms maybe are having their kids later. And then we have the kids and we're like, wait, what? We are expected to do all of this, all this, all this, all this, all this, and with what extra resources and support? Oh, is there childcare? Like, what is this world?
I've asked Jeff if we can move to Sweden so many times since Leo's been born.
I mean, I believe it. The system's just not set up for us to succeed in that way. And then on top of that, it's not just like, oh, you call, someone in the community for the answer every time you have a question about anything related to having a baby, because everything's a question, or you're a pediatrician or whatever. We have social media and we have the internet.
Yeah.
And you see these perfectly lived lives and you're like, wait, that's not what my life looks like. Back to this. I guess the importance of having these conversations about mental health as well. I'm sure that that's contributing to it. I mean, yes, we're talking about it more, so maybe we're more aware of it, but also I'm sure more people are experiencing it in this comparison culture. But we have so many resources at our fingertips that sometimes it can be hard to distill which ones are the valuable ones, and sorting through and the overwhelm and all the things. So anywho, that's all real fun. And speaking of that balancing act where we're, being told we can have it all and we are having our career and we're being a mom and we're doing the thing, Dove chocolate, not to be confused with Dove Beauty, is trying to help moms this Mother's Day by leveraging their mom skills to get back into the workforce. Because there's also tons of moms leaving the workforce, tons of moms leaving the workforce because they don't have child care.
Right.
And they're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm in it. I'm in it hard right now. Leo, luckily and blissfully, will start childcare in September, but that would not have been an option if we had any other circumstance that other than through my husband's work. So it's real.
And the Motherly report, they put out a report every year on the state of motherhood, and their report, timely with Mother's Day as well, recently came out and said 2/3 of moms considered leaving the workforce last year due to the stress and cost of childcare, which is highest among Gen Z at 82%. So
82%.
It's high.
Yeah.
So this problem of having affordable, accessible childcare is a real big deal for working moms. And so if this is driving women out of the workforce, it's taking away our abilities as we try to re-enter the workforce sometimes, because people are expecting, they forget who you are. They want you to start over. They wonder why you left to be a caregiver. So there's all these different reasons why people might take that pause, or the Work Pause Thrive of Lisanne Stromberg's book, also a great read. But having this access to this child's care in order to return to the workforce is like one piece of it. And then this other piece that Dove's trying to address is, now that you've taken this career break, how do you jump back in and leverage all these additional skills that you've gained as being a mom? Because let's be honest, moms are superwomen.
Yeah.
Not just to, again, toot our own horns, but think about all the moms they are capable of so much that we don't even acknowledge.
So what is Dove doing about it? They actually created an AI-powered mom experience translator tool, which kind of helps translate which mom skills can translate into job skills. I understand what they're trying to do. It also kind of feels, I don't know, a little patronizing.
It's interesting because they show you all the skills and the descriptions of those skills without having to sign into anything, right? Like you're not coming up with those on your own. They're like, scroll from these choices and pick the ones that apply to you, and then add in anything else that you have to contribute from your past experience. And then we'll like spit out something. I'm not sure what they spit out because honestly, I wasn't sure if it was a ploy to just get people to sign up on their mailing list. So I didn't want to end up in the sweepstakes.
Right.
Because that's part of the requirement in order to get this information, which I get. That's how all these things really work, let's be honest. So I'm not sure what the output is. So it's interesting because you could also just look at that, I guess, and take that information if you haven't seen this before. Hey Mama did something similar with their Mother on the Resume workshop. But then with this, because you're automatically then entered into said sweepstakes, 10 moms then have the chance to win $1,000 to support their job hunt. And then 25 more moms win a year's supply of chocolate. I just
cool.
I don't know. Like, does anyone need a year's supply of chocolate? I don't know. Like, let's just get everyone jobs. Like, you know how to treat a mom, give her a job.
What's also interesting is that they have a now treat yourself button. So after you use this AI resume tool, they send you to purchase their products. But then if you keep scrolling,
then you get to look at the careers at Mars, the parent company. Again, interesting idea. Weren't super excited about it in real life. They tried.
And listen, there are other great programs out there supporting moms who are re-entering the workforce. Flex Jobs has a great article about, a few of these companies. It's Microsoft, Intuit, GM, Dell, Careers Restart, and actually our very own Alana Ficalora just completed the momternship program at Mullen Lowe, and you rocked it, and it's very exciting to see you getting back in it.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how all these programs are structured and how they're engaging women back. And I think the interesting thing about so many of those in the Flex Job article too, right, was that they're often tech jobs, which is interesting in and of itself, because a lot of them say you have to have at least 2 years out of the workforce. And in that sense, I imagine, especially if it's a really tech forward job, that some of that technology could have changed. So you do need to upskill as you're re-entering. Right. And so being able to support women in that sense. And then the Mullen experience was really interesting because you could apply whether or not you had advertising experience. So they were really giving women a chance to reinvent their careers, which was very cool.
That's fantastic.
And so, and then they did a whole campaign with that as well to encourage other agencies this year to develop their own momternship programs. So it'd be great to infiltrate the industry with all of the moms because, again, superpowers.
Super women. Snaps. We haven't had any snaps.
I know. What do we do? What are we even doing here if there's no snorting or snapping? What is this podcast anymore? And on that note, we will pause and have you tune into the next episode because this is a two-parter. Yeah. We got lots to share on these topics.
So much to say.
So much to say because really it's not just about moms, it's about women in general. And so we are going to dig deeper into all the other awesome campaigns that speak to all women in our next episode.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let's shine a light and learn from those who are doing it well and reduce the missed opportunities for moms.
Yes, we want to hear from you. Let us know. What campaigns are you seeing that are doing it well? Who would you like to see us interview? And what campaigns would you like us to audit?
Thank you so much to you, our listeners, and our mothers for joining us on our mission to revolutionize the industry that we love.
Missed Opportunities for Good is powered by Love of Good and Aligned for Impact. To learn more, visit the links in the show notes.